Hello and welcome. I'm Leigh-Ann Gerrans and you're watching W News, broadcasting live from the Al Arabiya studios. These are our top stories. Trump reveals Kazakhstan will join the Abraham Accords as it seeks to improve relations between Israel and other Middle East nations. Explosions are heard near the Sudanese capital of Khartoum, a day after the RSF agreed to a humanitarian ceasefire. And Andrew Mountbatten Windsor is summoned by the US Congress as they look into his friendship with paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. US President Donald Trump says Kazakhstan will join the Abraham Accords in a bid to stabilize relations between Israel and Muslim-majority nations. The announcement came after a phone call between Trump and Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu alongside Kazakhstan's president. Here's how President Trump broke the news.
Some of the countries we're talking about and some of the countries represented here are going to be joining the Abraham Accords, the Abraham Accord, and that those announcements will be made over the next little while. The Abraham Accords are very sought after right now. We're going to be announcing some very important countries that are joining, and for Jared and for Steve Witkoff, we appreciate the great job you've done this evening. I'm also delighted to report that Kazakhstan has officially agreed, and that's official now, as of about 15 minutes ago. A tremendous country with a tremendous leader has officially joined the Abraham Accords.
For more on this, I'm joined from Tel Aviv by international lawyer and former senior advisor to the Israeli Prime Minister's office, Okaraby. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. So, Kazakhstan already maintains full diplomatic and economic relations with Israel. How significant is this latest development? Is it symbolic, or does it signal a deeper strategic shift?
Thank you, Leigh-Ann. I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, we are having already a full diplomatic relations with Kazakhstan. But, you know, Leigh-Ann, joining the Abraham Accord, it will open the gate and provide so many economic opportunities and position Kazakhstan together with a group of Arab Muslims moderated countries that in 2020 made history and break years of conflicts and turn it into a vibrant peace and opportunity for all the region.
What mutual benefits do Israel and Kazakhstan stand to gain from strengthening their relationship at this stage, politically, economically, or in terms of regional stability?
Well, as we speaking, we already have economic relations with Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan actually is very strong in oil and gas and natural resources, and it's one of the biggest suppliers of oil to Israel. And on the other hand, I believe that they cannot depend on that solely for their economy, and they would like to reach out to Israel, and where Israel can play a very important role in developing different sectors within Kazakhstan. Say, for example, technology, when create joint R&D centers, bringing advanced Israeli technologies in agriculture, in medical devices, in water security technology, and contributing and building an ecosystem based on that.
Since the signing of the Abraham Accords in 2020, when we saw Donald Trump in his first term, how have regional dynamics evolved since that point?
Well, it's a remarkable question, Leigh-Ann. I mean, we can look at it and see that it's probably one of the best things that happened in our region for many, many years. Embassies and consulate has been opened both in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Manama, and Rabat. We have the trade volume between us grew up in billions of dollars. We have dozens of agreements on trade, on education, on culture, on health, and many others. Look at the direct flights. We have 98 flights a week, direct flights between Israel and the Emirates, making, people to people business, environment, and culture, everything become completely vibrant. It's absolutely remarkable results.
And there's been growing speculation for a while now about additional countries joining the Abraham Accords, with Saudi Arabia often mentioned as a pivotal player. Donald Trump says it himself. How realistic is that prospect, and what factors might actually influence the decision that Riyadh will make?
Well, I think we have similar sources, and I do believe that it's a bit more than just speculations, but it's a big drama. Leigh-Ann, Saudi Arabia joining into the Abraham Accord is a major player. It's going to change the whole game. It's one of the most important Muslim Arab countries. It has an opportunity for themselves to become at the front stage of global diplomacy, of coming, a real progressive, moderated country close to the US, close to the West, and bring further opportunities. What is the triggers? I believe that actually we have the right men at the right time, and I'm not speaking only about Donald Trump and Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, of course, but I do speak about His Excellency, the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. I think that he's the right leader that can bring this courage and his pragmatic views on so many things. I mean, we can see his initiatives. It's just mind-blowing. IMEC, the Indian Middle East Economic Corridor, which is an amazing vision. His plans are for 50 years or 70 years ahead. And I believe that we have a great opportunity when everybody's on the board with the right leadership to bring Saudi and change dramatically the path of our region.
Kazakhstan has been the first country to join the Abraham Accords since the war in Gaza began. How important is this for Israel as we see their relationship with other international countries deteriorate since October the 7th, and since a lot of people saw a lot of atrocities in Gaza?
Well, it's true. I do believe that our foreign relation has deteriorated, but I do believe that as long as the Gaza situation is starting to be cleared, Hamas will be dismantled, and the reconstruction of Gaza will begin. I do believe that things will be looking brighter and brighter. It is very important that other countries looking at it. I think that this is voting for the success and voting for the process, making this region, a better place to live in. So I think it's a great news from Kazakhstan, because we did have, as I said, a good diplomatic relation, but joining the Abraham Accord in this point of time is voting confidence in the process and voting confidence that the serious, moderated countries want to have a change.
Okaraby, a pleasure to have you on. Thank you for your insights.
Thank you very much.
Now, locals living in Khartoum say they have heard explosions near the Sudanese capital today, a day after rapid support forces agreed to a humanitarian truce. Khartoum, currently controlled by the army, has been relatively calm since the military regained control earlier this year. But the RSF have continued to strike both military and civilian areas. The group recently captured Al-Fasher in western Darfur, where hundreds of people were killed and thousands others displaced. I'm now joined from the Port Sudan by Arabiya Correspondent AlMigdad Hassan. AlMigdad, thank you so much for your time this evening. Great to have you on the show. Locals in Khartoum say they have heard explosions near the Sudanese capital today. What more can you tell us?
Thank you, Leigh-Ann. Yes, they are more from the ground here, the latest from the ground. There are many events today by the Rapid Support Forces. Rapid Support Forces, RSF, launched several drone attack by suicide drone attack on Khartoum city, especially in Omdurman. Omdurman, one of the main city in the capital. The locals there and our report and our sources there told us that they were hear explosion near power station and near the northern area, which incubate a military base for the Sudanese army. And the anti-craft and anti-missile by the Sudanese army have tried to lie down those drones, and there are many explosions after the suicide drones lie on the ground. Also in the northern state, or in the River Nile state, I mean Atbara, the city of Atbara also have shown many and several drone attacks by the Rapid Support Forces, and also the surface-to-air missiles by the Sudanese army have tried to lie down and shut down those RSF's suicidal drone attack, and there were no casualties. Immediate report to casualties on those city. There are also another confrontation and another suicidal drone attack by the Rapid Support Forces in the city of Al-Ubaid. Al-Ubaid in North Kordofan, which is one of the main and base stronghold for the Sudanese army in the northern in the North Kordofan state. So when we see those military events escalating day by day, we see that the city of Bara right now is another battleground for the both sides in the upcoming days, because the city of Bara, one of the key town, lie away from a city of Al-Ubaid, about 40 kilometers. So we expect that the city of Bara in the upcoming days will see an event of military event and event of military escalation.
So you just mentioned a few places to me there. Let's talk about it a little bit more, because the RSF did accept a humanitarian ceasefire a day before we saw attacks, like you just told me, on Khartoum, Atbara and Al-Baideh. How is the army viewing this development and this truce?
The military perspective about what the RSF saying is skeptical, and there is raising tensions and doubts about what they are saying, because the military condition about the truce for the RSF is to withdraw their troops from the civilians areas, from the area controlled right now in Darfur, and lie their arms down to the Sudanese army. And I think there is many skeptical by experts, by military sources, about this truce can be held on and can be stable. Because when we see that within the past 24 hours that the RSF launches several attacks towards cities controlled by the Sudanese army, and targeting civilians facility and targeting military bases on those cities, and also talking about acceptance of this peace, the military perspective and the military leaders are skeptical about what they are saying. And there are many conditions said in many statements by the Sudanese army leaders, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, that this war is a legitimate for Sudanese people, and they are appealing to defeat the Rapid Support Forces in the upcoming day till they end the war in the country. So there are many experts, and the things in the ground doubts that this truce will be held and be stable for the upcoming days.
And let's talk a little bit about the humanitarian situation right now in Western Darfur. How can aid agencies intervene to help ease the dire conditions faced by thousands of displaced people in Sudan? And we've just been talking about how dangerous some areas are.
When we talk about the humanitarian situation on West Darfur region and on the city of Al-Fashir, especially for the aid workers to intervene, such a tragic city that have seen a mass killing by the Rapid Support Forces, as the UN-led body Human Rights said, that received a horrendous reports about mass killing, about rape, sexual violence, and forcibly displaced personnel from the city of Al-Fashir. We talk about big challenges facing those humanitarian workers and faces UN OCHA itself. UN OCHA called upon RSF to open corridors, to open roads for intervene and alleviate the dire situation for thousands who have been displaced to nearby town Tawila after the RSF take over the city of Al-Fashir. So there are major challenges, concerning challenges toward the UN workers and aid workers about the safety, about their safety, about the supply. The UN must increase their supply for those who have been displaced, to make a suitable shelter, to make a mobile clinic, to make a medical service for those who have been forcibly displaced. And we talk about thousands that right now are in open air in city of Tawila. More than 30,000 have been reaching Tawila in the past few days, and the coordination of refugee in the city and locals told us that they are more than 1.3 million since the war that have been displaced to city of Tawila. So we talk about big challenges towards humanitarian workers and a dire situation. So they need to increase their operation to alleviate the dire situation for those who have been displaced in the past few days.
Thank you so much for joining us. It was brilliant to have you on the show, AlMigdad Hassan. Thank you once again. Let's take a look at some of the other stories making the headlines today. A suspicious package delivered to a US military base in Maryland has caused multiple people to fall ill. US media are reporting that the package contained an unidentified white powder. The spokesperson for the Air Force One base said the building in which the envelope was opened was evacuated. Dozens of people have been rushed to hospital after an explosion at a mosque inside a school complex in Jakarta, Indonesia. The incident, which occurred during Friday prayers, injured at least 54 people who were rushed to hospital. The city police chief said that the cause of the explosion is still being investigated. A top German military official claims Russia could launch an attack on NATO territory as early as tomorrow. The general responsible for defense planning also warned that Moscow could mount a larger assault by 2029 if rearmament continues. Moscow has denied any intention to attack NATO. And the UN Security Council has lifted sanctions on Syrian President Ahmed al-Sharaa. The resolution to remove sanctions received 14 votes in favour, with China abstaining. The Syrian president, who was sanctioned by the UN in 2014, is due to meet US President Donald Trump on Monday. The US Congress has written to Andrew Mountbatten Windsor requesting to interview him regarding his friendship with the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. A committee is looking into Epstein's sex trafficking operations and financial records, where the King's brother is named. The letter from Congress to the former prince was sent to Royal Lodge in Windsor, which alongside his titles has been taken away from him on account of the serious allegations made in Virginia Giuffre's memoir. For more on this, I'm joined from London by royal commentator Afua Hagan. Afua, it's brilliant to have you back on the show. Thank you so much for joining me. So, a fresh blow for the former prince. What reasons did the US Congress give for wanting to interview Andrew Mountbatten Windsor?
A fresh blow indeed for Andrew. This letter, signed by 16 Democrats, asked Andrew to sit for a transcribed interview in front of the Congressional Committee that are investigating the Epstein case. Now, in the letter, they say the committee is seeking to uncover the identities of Mr. Epstein's co-conspirators and enablers to fully understand the extent of his criminal operations. They go on to say that there's well-documented undocumented allegations against you, along with your long-standing friendship with Mr. Epstein, indicate that you may possess knowledge of his activities relevant to our investigation. So basically, this committee is saying, we want to know what you know, when you knew it, what you know about Epstein, who else was there. We want all the information that you have.
And it's really interesting because Andrew has always maintained his innocence and doesn't legally have to agree to do this interview. But if he doesn't, survivors no doubt will be asking what he has to hide, Afua.
Absolutely. Look, if Andrew is innocent, and like you so rightly said, he has always vehemently denied the allegations against him, if that is the case and he has nothing to hide, then appearing before the US Congress should and technically not be a problem for him. If he is innocent, as he says, then he should be able to sit in front of US Congress with a clean conscience and talk about what he knows. If he ignores this request, because it is a request, it's not an order, it's not a subpoena, he isn't legally bound to appear before Congress right now. If he ignores the request, then it looks like he has something to hide. And if he sits before Congress and, you know, can hold his head high and continue to talk about this and deny everything that's against him and with a clear conscience, then this could go some way towards repairing his reputation. Do we expect him to respond to this? We really don't know. The letter gives him up to the 20th of November to be able to respond to the letter. We don't know what that response will be. But you're right in saying, look, if he is innocent, as he says, then sitting in front of Congress should not be a problem for him.
Yes, we'll have to wait to see if he's going to go or not. But this has been a story the royal family can just not seem to shake. Could we see further repercussions for Andrew and the rest of the royals following this latest request from America?
You're right. This story is just a terrible gift that keeps on giving. We keep getting a drip feed from the Epstein files and the repercussions from it, which is things like this letter from Congress. Look, at the moment, Andrew's titles have been stripped from him by the powers used by the king. He is being moved from Royal Lodge to Sandringham Estates. And there's talk of some of his military titles that haven't yet been stripped from him, being stripped from him. That could potentially happen. The other consequences for him, yes, could be him being forced to appear before US Congress. They could decide to subpoena him and take it to a legally binding form to force him to come to the United States. And it's continual reputational damage for the royal family, for the farm. I mean, this week we have Prince William, the Earthshot Prize, which has been going on in Brazil, and then him attending COP30. But still in the background, we still have all these headlines about Andrew, whether it's the formality of his titles being stripped from him and that put on record this week, or this action by Congress sending him this letter. It just is something the royal family cannot get away from.
Yeah, absolutely. And we did see Prince William, as you did rightly say, he was in Brazil for the COP30 climate talks, and he wouldn't be drawn into questions about either Prince Harry or Andrew, would he? He stayed pretty tight-lipped.
Yes, he did. You know, never complain, never explain. He's definitely following that mantra. And he wanted the focus to be on the Earthshot Prize, the winners of that prize, and why he's doing what he's doing. He's 5 years into a 10-year ambitious plan with the Earthshot Prize, and that's what he wanted the focus to be on. And now on COP30, the preliminary meetings this week before the bigger agenda next week. And you're right to say, wouldn't be drawn into anything to do with Andrew, to do with Harry, to do with anything apart from COP30 this week.
As you say, he was purely professional. And finally, Afua, Prince Harry, he's had to make a public apology today, but it's a little less serious than what we've been talking about. It's all about his allegiances to sporting. Can you tell us a little bit more here?
Yes, that's right. So Prince Harry making an apology for wearing a Los Angeles Dodgers baseball cap. And I think we can take a look at that now.
Well, firstly, I would like to apologise to Canada for wearing it. Secondly, I was under duress. There wasn't much choice. I was invited to the LA Dodgers box, or the dugout, by the owner himself, so I was doing what I thought was the polite thing to do. But I'm going to wear this from now on to make sure I don't make any more of those mistakes. But the other piece to this was, as you could probably relate, when you're missing a lot of hair on top and you're sitting under floodlights, you'll take any hat that's available. So, Game 5, Game 6, Game 7, I was Blue Jays throughout. Now that I've admitted that, it's going to be really hard for me to return back to Los Angeles. But no, I'm very sorry to the Canadian public. Devastated that the Blue Jays lost, but go Jays.
So, Afua, tell me a little bit more. Why did he have to apologise? Why did he upset Canada? And I like the fact he admitted he's losing his hair.
Right, Prince Harry, very self-aware. So this was all about last week when Prince Harry and his wife Meghan were front row at one of the World Series matches between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Toronto Blue Jays. They were playing in the baseball in the World Series. So there they were wearing Los Angeles Dodgers cap. Now, lots of Canadians taking offense to this. Of course, the royal family, head of state in Canada. And so lots of Canadians were saying, hold on a minute, you should be supporting the Toronto Blue Jays. But of course, Harry and Meghan live in Los Angeles, but they do have a lot of affinity with Toronto. You know, Meghan made suits there. That's where they first sort of outdoored their relationship. That's where they confirmed that they were together at the Invictus Games 2017. And so a lot of Canadians felt, along with the fact that, of course, like I said, the King is head of state of Canada, that they should be wearing Toronto's Blue Jays cap. So that's what Prince Harry was making that slightly tongue-in-cheek apology for there. I think he was talking to CTV News. And like I said, you know, admitting that he is covering up that ever-growing bald spot.
Afua, I must say, schoolboy error there from Prince Harry. Schoolboy error. But Afua Hagan, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Korean officials are investigating what caused a boiler tower to collapse, killing at least 3 people during demolition work on Thursday. Several others are presumed trapped inside the debris of the 60-metre tower at a power plant in Ulsan, South Korea. Chris Gilbert reports.
A demolition job turned deadly. This is all that's left of the Ulsan thermal power plant's boiler tower, which once stood comparable to a 15-story building and generated electricity by boiling water. Now, people are trapped inside its wreckage. It belongs to the state-run Korea East-West Power Company and collapsed while undergoing demolition work. Weakening operations began last month, which involved pre-cutting steel supports to make the structure easier to demolish. Workers were cutting at a height of 25 meters when the structure suddenly caved. The collapse was heard 200 meters away. One person was pronounced dead while found trapped early on Friday. At the time, officials expressed hope to save lives.
There are a total of 9 casualties. Among the 9 people, 2 have been taken to hospital. So 7 people are isolated and trapped, but 2 people were newly discovered a little while ago.
But the 2 hospitalized were also pronounced dead shortly after. Rescuers are continuing their search for more inside the rubble, some presumed dead. But the densely packed debris from the 44-year-old tower is making rescue efforts difficult. Cranes have arrived on site, but officials are cautious about using them. They're concerned strong movements could further collapse the debris and injure those inside. Rescue teams say they're working in incredibly tight spaces and specialists are being deployed to pull out people by hand.
This steel boiler tower was built in 1981. It's been out of operation since 2021. And let me address this one first. It collapsed during demolition work of the boiler tower at the thermal power plant.
Fire authorities are wary the impact of Thursday's incident could also collapse other nearby towers already weakened for demolition. They say they're using all available resources, including rescue dogs and endoscopic cameras, to search for the trapped people. Chris Gilbert, AlArabiya English.
Let's take a look at the top business news now. The Tesla board have approved a $1 trillion compensation package for Elon Musk. The payout, which will be in stocks, will make Musk the world's first trillionaire. Shareholders have given Elon set targets such as expanding Tesla's market value to $8.5 trillion. British broadcaster ITV is in talks with Sky to sell its entertainment unit for around $2 billion. Earlier, the company's latest financial results showed it was moving to save millions of pounds due to an advertising slowdown. A local media report suggests that the deal would create a more attractive proposition for UK streaming advertisers. Turning to all the sports news now, and a total of 11 arrests were made during a night of protest as Aston Villa played Maccabi Tel Aviv in Birmingham last night. More than 700 police officers were on duty for the Europa League clash amid concerns over potential disorder. The Israeli team lost 2-0 to the English side. And Australian tennis player Nick Kyrgios says his long-term knee injury has improved. The 30-year-old has not played since losing the second round of the Miami Open in March. Kyrgios is due to face women's world number one Aryna Sabalenka next month in a rare battle of the sexes exhibition match in Dubai. Now, the global wellness industry, which includes health, nutrition, and physical activity, is worth over $7 trillion and is expected to reach $9 trillion by 2028. Luxury fitness studio Reform Athletica opened its first studio in the UAE in 2018 and clocked up over 10,000 followers on Instagram in the first few years. Now, co-founder Dina Elshurafa is taking the brand worldwide, opening a new studio in Riyadh, its first international venture. And Dina joins me now in the studio, and she is the co-founder of Reform Athletica. Thank you so much, Dina, for your time and for joining me.
Thank you.
First of all, I want to start by asking you a little bit about Reform Athletica. It offers a range of classes, including yoga, Pilates, sculpts. Tell us a little bit more and the philosophy behind the brand.
Sure, thank you for having me. So Reform Athletica is a fitness wellness destination. We set up shop in Dubai back in 2018. We offer 6 different modalities, including the Legree method, which is a hybrid Pilates strength and conditioning class. It's low impact, high impact but low intensity. And we also have different classes like yoga, deep stretch, sculpt and burn, which is a mat Pilates-based class. And our philosophy has always been to curate classes that are expertly led by a team of excellent instructors, by ensuring that we have a very personal human touch when we deliver our classes. They are intimate by design. We've never wanted to have classes that are large because we wanted to maintain that human connection between the trainer and between our front of house staff with the client. We also invest a lot in the design of the space. We spend a lot of time with our architects in London, TR Studio, who are very good at really engaging with the client and understanding what they need in terms of that client journey. And more importantly, we also invest a lot in the art that goes into the studios. We like to create intimate spaces that inspire clients to work out, but also inspire them to be in a space that they enjoy being in.
Sounds great. Absolutely. Yes. And you first launched your first studio in 2018, and that has had great success in the UAE, like we just said a little bit earlier. And now the plan is to expand, but to expand into Saudi Arabia. Why Riyadh? And basically, why now?
Yeah, great question. I think it's the decision has 2 elements to it for us. The first one is a business and the second is a personal one. The business decision was obviously, as we know, Riyadh is going through a great process of transformation and development. Anyone that visits Riyadh can really engage with the culture, the authenticity of the people, but also the great entrepreneurial spirit that the government is also encouraging looking to set up there. And I think Vision 2030 is such an ambitious development and ambitious aim, and we wanted to be part of it. The Ministry of Sport, the Ministry of Investment is spending a lot of money into making Riyadh a wellness hub, investing a lot of dollars into the social and wellness infrastructure of the country, and you know, it's testament to the country that, you know, great international conferences like FIBO and Beyond Active, which are very well known, are now actually establishing spots in Riyadh. So that for us meant that it was the natural choice, and we wanted to be part of that, and we wanted to engage with that. And the personal side of it is I was born and bred in Saudi Arabia. I was born in Riyadh. So for me to bring back the business to Saudi Arabia is a full circle moment. So it's very, very special for me.
It's like going back home almost, isn't it? And bringing your passion back home. I was actually in Riyadh, and I'll be moving to Riyadh, which is really interesting. I'm really into Reform. I'm going to tell everyone about it. And I love studios. And I did go to a few in Riyadh myself to test out the waters ahead of my move there. And right now, what sets Reform Athletica apart from the other kind of studios that are available? Is it that intimacy, the art that you talked to me about?
Yeah, I mean, we view competition as a great thing. We actually view it as a positive because it keeps our quality in check and it keeps our training at its highest standards. I think for us, we are very confident that the quality of the training that we deliver is on par with international standards in London and New York and elsewhere. But also what we bring in terms of the human connection between clients and trainers is something that we think we do very well in Dubai, and we think that we will do that very well in Saudi Arabia. And I think the client journey is something that we're very focused on. From the moment a client comes in, they feel very welcomed and special, and they feel seen. And we are, excited to make sure that this journey continues in Saudi and beyond.
And I really wanted to talk to you about health and wellness. Like right now in today's society and for the last few years, it's been so important. It feels like it's been so pivotal for people to build a community, to make friends, to get fit. I don't know if it's Gen Z, but so much of the culture has changed now when we look at health compared to probably what it was when I was a little bit younger. Do you think going to a fitness studio is now basically like the new nightclub, the new going out? Because I often wonder, we've seen this full circle moment, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there is a very renewed focus on health and wellness, but not just from the physical aspect of it, from the mental wellness side, the emotional side, and also the physical side. And I think to your point about, millennials and Gen Zs wanting to, include fitness into their routine is something that we've definitely seen. But I think more so than the Gen Zs and the millennials, the older adults as well are very much engaged in their fitness journey because there's a renewed focus on longevity, on making sure that we live a longer and a healthier lifestyle. So I think we've seen it, in both ends of the spectrum. Both the young and the older are more interested in focusing on that. So it's great to see, and we're very excited to see that also being supported in Riyadh.
And what would you say to anyone watching this who would like to come to one of your classes but might feel a little bit nervous because it can be intimidating? What's your advice?
As with anything, don't be intimidated. I think the first time's always a little bit daunting, but our trainers are very experienced in dealing with clients of all levels and of all fitness abilities, and we want to welcome everyone. Fitness shouldn't be restricted to a certain group of people. It should be open to anyone, and we encourage everyone to try it, and don't be intimidated. It's always the first time, and then you can push through it.
No, I agree with that. And men, should we get all the men encouraged to come along? Because I don't know about you, but I always watch on Instagram men doing Legree or Pilates, and it's quite amusing.
Yeah.
But they can be quite good at it, can't they?
No, absolutely. And I think there's a perception that Pilates or Legree is not for men because it's seen more of a female-focused type of exercise. But every time we've had men in our studio, they're surprised as to how difficult the workout is. So we want to encourage it, and we're actually hopeful that because of our location in Riyadh and the diplomatic quarter, we'll be able to offer classes for both men and women, which we hope to be one of the first studios to do that in Riyadh. So we're very excited.
Oh, thank you so much for coming in to talk to me. It was an absolute pleasure. I really enjoyed it. Thank you
very much.
Dina Elshurafa. Once again, a pleasure.
Thank you.
A reminder of our top stories. Trump reveals Kazakhstan will join the Abraham Accords as it seeks to improve relations between Israel and the Middle East nations. Explosions are heard near the Sudanese capital of Khartoum a day after the RSF agreed to a humanitarian ceasefire. And Andrew Mountbatten Windsor is summoned by the US Congress as they look into his friendship with paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. And that's all from us on W News. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on X. We'll be back in a couple of hours with W News Extra. Goodbye, happy Friday, and thank you for watching.